You're going to put your hands on the top of your shin bone right below the knee with your toe pointing forward. You're going to start with the knee behind the heel from a half kneeling position. You're going to use your hands to twist the shin bone inward. It's not going to be much, it's like millimeters of motion at most, but you're going to keep that twisted in, and you're slowly going to rock forward so your knee travels forward of the heel, only as far as your heel does not lose weight on the ground. And you're just going to rock back so the shin starts back behind the heel. You should feel that the heel is very, very heavy at the tippy back when your shin is back behind the heel. That's where you keep that grasp, that little twist. You keep it twisted, and then as you rock forward, you're going to feel the weight in the heel go through the middle and then through the front and a little more into the arch. Okay? All the while, you're making sure that the kneecap stays in line with the second toe and that your hip stays roughly in line with the knee. So at no point should we be going this way or which other way. We're trying to make sure that the setup and the position allows all these other bones and joints to correspond to what we're trying to get happening in this area right here. Okay, so it's just back and forth. You keep that twist. You slowly, very slowly, to rock forward, otherwise you can't pay attention to the heel pressure. And then you go all the way back. If you lose grip on your hands, back here is where you can just adjust. Get that twist inward to the midline, and then go for another rep. Okay, little details for the setup in order for this to do what we want it to do. Okay, so we talked about lining it up. So hip socket, kneecap in line with the second toe. Shouldn't be out here, shouldn't be out here. This knee, same idea. The foot should be directly behind the knee, so you don't want it to be out here. The toe can be tucked or untucked, whatever's comfortable. From the side, very important for mobility issues, or if you feel restricted in the hip, and if you find that you have a little bit of roundness, you can't get comfortable here, take something higher, put it under your knee, and then you have the hip higher up than the kneecap so the hip can stay flexed. We don't want the hip to round because we want it to be flexed, because we want that to correspond with the motion. So as the shin goes forward, they should all be opening up at the same time. Okay, we shouldn't be here. That hip shouldn't be tucking under. It should just be flexing as we go forward. So knee flexes forward, hip flexes forward. From the other side, don't make this a hip stretch. So we don't want to stretch the hip flexors. We're going to have this hip a little bit behind the knee, so it's a little flexed and a little relaxed. No squeeze in the butt, nothing happening here. So most of your weight, if not all the weight, is resting on this knee. And that's why when we start with this foot, the shin is behind the heel. That makes it so that this knee has all of our weight. Okay? And then when we go forward, and we have that little twist assisted with the hands, guiding the tibia into internal rotation, now we start to put weight on that front foot, and the weight goes through the heel, through roughly into the front of it, and you'll see the arch relax here. So I'm not going to go past this range. I'm going to stay within my range, and then when I go back to shin behind the heel, you're going to see that the arch lifts a little bit again. I'll show you one more time. So knee starts, shin starts behind the heel. This is where I keep hands twisted inward toward the midline. I feel heavy heel pressure at the tippy back of it. I start to slowly, very slowly go forward, and you'll notice that the arch starts to relax toward the floor as the whole heel bone plasters. And you're going to feel the glute lengthen, you're going to feel a little bit of the foot arch relax, and then you're going to come back to the start position. At no point should you go forward so much that your heel lifts off the ground. That completely defeats the purpose of the exercise. We need a planted heel so the heel bone twists accordingly with all these other bones happening. And at no point should you put pressure on your toes. Okay, so heel heavy at all times. This hip not jamming forward. And then same idea, if you have to do the other leg, it's still toward the midline. So I would twist it this way if I were doing my left leg, or rather my right leg. Say on my left leg to the midline, so from out, twisting in.